Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. It is a toasty day here in Southwest Florida. It is 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 32 degrees Celsius. With a heat index, it is 95 degrees Fahrenheit with a which is 35 degrees Celsius. So it's a warm day. It's not as humid as it's been in the past. There's a breeze coming through, so it's okay. It's tolerable. I am recovering from being without air conditioning here for about 5 days, 4 or 5 days, and so I got to spend a lot of time, out here with my orchids in my garden, and it was a great time to catch up with things that I had to do. What I have today is a few blooms for you. So I have, how many old blooms? Repeat bloomers, I should say. I've got 3 repeat bloomers that I want to highlight, and then I have one first time bloom for me today. All right, so let's start out with repeat bloomers, but before I do that, this is another repeat bloomer that I didn't want to highlight, but this is Encyclia tampensis, and I'm so excited because these are coming into bloom, and I think I counted, I've got about 15 of these guys. Small flowers, really nice, and it's a Florida native, so I've got so many of these plants. This is not even close to the biggest one that I grew from seed. I've got a lot more of these coming that I'm really excited about. Coming means, well, both coming into flower, but then also I've got a lot of plants in the laboratory. I have hundreds of them, so I had a really good seed capsule of Encyclia tampensis from one of these plants, and I got a lot of plants coming, and they're going to go everywhere, so I'm pretty excited about this. Okay, let's get to the other repeat bloomers that I mentioned. The first one that I want to talk about is this one right here, and I haven't had this for very long. So this is called Cattleya Thospol Spot-Secret Love, and this is named after the 2 parents. This blooms a lot for me. I like it because it has the spots to it, has a lot of fragrance, a smaller flower. But the thing that I'm noticing about this plant now is that it's incredibly floriferous. It bloomed, I think, like 3 months ago, and it put out a new pseudobulb and has already bloomed again. So nice blooms. There's some slight spotting because one of the parents is Thospol Spot. There's spots in the flowers. It's got a really nice broad lip to it. Coloration is nice. The vigor is nice. The flatness of the flower is also pretty good. Fragrance-wise, I'm getting a classical Cattleya scent along with a little bit of rose mixed in, so it's got a pretty nice fragrance associated with it. Smaller plant, small stature, so I like this. I haven't used it in my breeding yet, but I might. I promised a division to someone, so I'm not sure I want to put a capsule on this, but I'll probably harvest the pollinia from this. So Thospol Spot-Secret Love is my first repeat bloomer, and it's just a really nice small Cattleya type orchid. Okay, moving on just a little bit. I want to show you this plant, and this is Clear Stars right here, and this is a big plant. It's one of my new favorites. So this is a nodosa cross. This is another really floriferous plant. It's got I think it's got maybe 8 or 9 new pseudobulbs coming out of it. The flowers are pretty nice. This is just a single flower right here is all that's open right now, but it's got the classical nodosa shape where it's got really thin sepals and petals. The lip is it's very, very full. It has a darker purple coloration to it, and I'm not sure if there's any fragrance to this plant. but it's a really nice flowering plant. It has, on the new pseudobulbs that are coming out, I can see two new flowers that are coming out in one part of the plant, and then there's also a couple of new flowers that are kind of embedded in another one of the pseudobulbs. Most of the other pseudobulbs are too small. This plant is really, even though it's a larger plant, it's pretty well maintained. It comes up from a center area. The new pseudobulbs, rather than coming just from the outside and going wild and spreading out, this seems to be all self-contained. So this is a plant where the pseudobulbs come out from the middle, they come out from the sides, but then they grow straight up. It's in a big pot. There's a lot of pseudobulbs on this plant, but it's still compact and fairly organized. The other thing that you'll see on this is that there's a seed capsule. So I've used this in my crosses in the past, and there's another seed capsule on the plant right now that I'm pretty excited about. With all the new pseudobulbs growing out of it, this capsule may be turning to yellow. It may be yellowing a little prematurely, and I'll have to keep an eye on it and see what it does. I've had some capsules from this plant that have prematurely yellowed and didn't give me any seed, but I have had some capsules on this plant that did go to maturity where I didn't get a huge number of seed, but I got enough seed so that I generated some hybrids. And the hybrids that I have, they're right here. So these are right here. These are all the same, from the same cross. The mother plant is Clear Stars right here, and this is called Billy Baby. And Billy Baby is named for Bill, who gifted me this plant. These are big plants, and it's interesting because it has a lot of the characteristics, as you might imagine, from Clear Stars. But these are big plants, and it's striking to me because I looked in my records, and the seed that gave rise to these plants were placed in flasks a little less than 13 months ago. So I looked, and I was surprised. So these guys, they grew pretty quickly. They deflasked, and they're doing really well. There's new pseudobulbs growing out of all of these seedlings. These were deflasked, I think, probably around 3, maybe 4 months ago, which means that the plants got really big in flasks, well, like at 9 months. And I've got a lot of these still in the laboratory, a lot of flasks of this hybrid still in the laboratory. I crossed this onto, I'm pretty excited about it. I crossed onto this plant. It's a large cattleya that has some flaring in the petals and a deep red throat and lip on this large, wide-petaled, fragrant, vigorous cattleya. So I'm really excited to see what Billy Baby is going to do. And again, I've got a lot more flasks of this in the laboratory. All right, let's move on. I want to show you a first bloom, and then I got to change locations to show you my last repeat bloomer because it's a Vanda and it's stuck on a tree down there. It's doing really well. Anyway, all right, so this is a first time bloom on this plant right here, and I don't know if you can see it, it's off the camera, but this is a Myrmecophila that has these really long spikes. This is Myrmecophila grandiflora times Myrmecophila exaltata. And I picked this up from Orchids Amore about, I think, a little less than 3 years ago. And the plant itself got really big. I didn't buy it. The plant propagator Junior really liked it because she wanted to try Myrmecophila to put it out in a little bit more of the brighter locations around the house. Supposed to be able to take direct sunlight and hot. I didn't quite do that, but now the plant has gotten so big I may divide it after it's done flowering. But anyway, this is a plant that, because the plant itself was so compact, I thought that the flower spikes would be compact, but no. So these flower spikes are probably around 3 to 4 feet tall. There are 3 spikes on this plant, this is again first bloom. The flowers themselves, I think, look like a grandiflora pretty much, but you know, the exaltata and the grandiflora, they look a lot alike, and to be honest, I'm not sure I like the flower that much. I don't like the plant because the spikes are so tall. This thing's huge. You know, I got it hanging on my fence, and when the spikes first came out, and it's like, okay, and then they kept on getting taller and taller. It's like too big, and then they got taller, way too big, much too big. So this is, I mean, it's a nice flower. I do like, in the petals of this flower, I do like the wavy petals and sepals. I do like the coloration in the, you know, in the throat and the lip. But the plant, and I do like that there are multiple flowers per spike, but the thing is just too big for me, and it's going to be a challenge for me, considering that this is the first bloom and how big the plant is and how big the spikes are. This is going to be a challenge for me. I had to take it off the fence to bring it here, and that was just a challenge to move it. And again, this is the first bloom on this plant, so I think this plant's going to get a lot bigger. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this. I may use it for crossing. That's what I think I'll do. So this is in the Cattleya Alliance, so I can cross clear stars, I can cross this onto that, I can do a lot of things. And what I like doing is what they tell me you're not supposed to do. What I like doing is crossing a big flower onto these small flowers that are really not very closely related. So right behind me, I don't know if you can see, right back here, I don't know if you can see all the tags waving in the breeze here. I've got 5 capsules forming on a Dulatiaca. So this is a Laelianthe, I think, Dulatiaca. I'll put the name in the video. But this thing, again, same thing. It got really big. This is the first time bloom on this. I had 7 bloom spikes, ton of flowers, and I need to get rid of it. I think I got someone who's going to take a piece of it, but I just pollinated a lot of the flowers on this just to see what it would do. I think I might have made maybe around 10 crosses, and what I have left is 5 capsules that are formed. And what I did is I crossed it onto a variety of things. I did cross some small flowers onto it, but I crossed, and what I'm more excited about is I crossed some big Cattleya flowers onto this really small red Dulatiaca. And I'm curious to see what I get from that. I'm not going to chop the plant up. I'm not going to give it away until I harvest my capsules off of that. So I have a few months left to go on that. So I might do the same thing with this Myrmecophila. Just make a bunch of crosses on these flowers, just to, you know, just to see what happens and what I get from it. Now, what I don't want is plants that have the long flower spikes like this. I have seen some crosses from this, from the parents of this plant, and the flowers do impart some of the characteristics of this plant. I've seen some crosses with when they use big Cattleya flowers, and you do get a little bit of that waviness in the sepals and petals of the progeny plant. So that may be what I'll go for. The crosses that I've seen, though, they're small. They're bigger than this, but they're still small, probably about this size Cattleya flowers. And what I'm thinking about is Cattleya flowers this big or bigger. And I've got, again, a bunch of Pollinia collected, and I'll probably be making some crosses onto this. This has just started to bloom. This third bloom spike back here that you probably can't see has none of the flowers are even open on this yet. There are anywhere from in the short case on this one, I think there's 7 flowers. There's probably 10 to 12 flowers on this one spike and intermediate in between. I should also say that this grandiflora exaltata cross has not been registered. So I do need to contact Orchids Amore to find out whether they are planning to register this plant. I'm not sure I want to. They still, I think, have some of these, and they're still letting them go for a reasonable price. But it's nice when you make these crosses to have a registered parent involved. All right, so again, first bloom Yay! But this is what happens when you get first bloom. It wasn't exactly what you're expecting, and that's okay. I do have a lot of other plants that are coming that I hopefully will have new blooms. And do I have any first blooms? I'm not sure. I got a lot of things going on, and it's kind of an exciting time for me. All right, what I want to do now is I have one more plant that I want to show you, and I want to get behind the camera and move to another location so we can take a look at Vanda Selena. I should also say one last thing before I go, is that my dendrobiums are just exploding all over the house, and I might do another dendrobium only video soon. Again, many of my dendrobiums are no ID, but I do have some named dendrobiums that are flowering, and I'm getting a lot of flowers on the plants, really all over the place. So it's an exciting time for that. All right, so what I'm going to do is get behind the camera, and we'll take a look at one more plant. Okay, and we're back. So this is the last plant that I wanted to share with you, and this is Vanda Selena. This is from RF Orchids in Homestead, Florida, and this is a plant that Mike gifted to me. So Mike, if you're watching, look at this plant. This is doing really, really well. This thing is attached to the tree big time. I brought it home. I struggle with Vandas, but this is the third time this thing has bloomed for me within the past year. This thing it's attached onto the tree. The roots it looks like the roots are about 5 or 6 feet up, and they're definitely 5 or 6 feet down. So the roots are growing all over the place on this. It has a number of keikis, 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 keikis coming out of the bottom of this thing. The plant when I got it was about this high, and now it's probably tripled or quadrupled in size. The flowers on it, it's not quite peak flower yet, but the flowers are really, really nice dark blue coloration with maybe some markings on the petals and sepals. The one thing is that there's no fragrance associated with this, and that's too bad, but the plant is doing extremely well in this location. This is a Christmas palm right here that it's growing on. I've got a lot of Vandas that are growing on this. Right now, because of the time of the year, the sun is directly above, so it gets morning sun, but it doesn't really get any kind of direct afternoon sun because, like I said, the sun is more almost straight overhead. In the wintertime, as the sun goes down in the sky, it does get a lot more direct sun, but right now it doesn't. So again, Vanda Selena from it was registered, I should say. I got it from RF Orchids, but it was also registered, which means it was bred by RF Orchids. So this is one of their plants doing very well, repeat bloomer, a gift, yay, from Michael. So I'm just really happy with this plant and how it's doing. All right, that's the last plant I wanted to share with you today. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, that's all I have for today. Again, I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.